snipers, helicopters, and a massive police presence, all for the funeral of Yo Gotti's big brother, Big Juke. That's what people saw in Hickory Hill today outside of New Direction Christian Church.
The death of Yo Gotti's brother shocked Memphis. The timing as well as the execution were nothing short of brutal. Having lost his elder brother, Yo Gotti must be devastated by the whole ordeal. And as everyone waits for him to open up about his brother's death, his fans can only try to piece together what really happened the day Big Juke was murdered.
Well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Juke. Now, Big Juke is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
Big Juke's tragic death. Losing a loved one is never easy, and this is no different for Memphis rapper Yo Gotti. Although he has not given any statement regarding his brother's death, we can only imagine what he is going through. However, he did make a surprise appearance at 42 Doug's concert in Memphis. But now, it seems as though the rapper has a target on his back. It seems that someone is hell-bent on putting Yo Gotti 6 feet under. As it turns out, just a few days after his brother's death, Young Dolph's cousin, Paper Route Vicky, took to social media to post a hit list which included Black Youngstar, who was Dolph's rival. The list, which was titled Get Back List, featured names such as Old Boy and Old Boy Brother, which people claim are Yo Gotti and Big Juke. This could be the case as Old Boy Brother's name is checked off. Had Young Dolph's people taken out Big Juke, and are there plans to kill Yo Gotti, or is Paper Route Vicky just trolling? Well, even from Paper Route Vicky's other posts, you could see that she is serious about getting revenge for Dolph's death. But was Big Juke really killed because of the beef between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti, or is there something beneath the surface? Well, a myriad of reasons for why Big Juke met his death have been proposed by internet detectives. However, 2 of them have taken center stage. The first theory is that Big Juke was murdered because he had a hand in Young Dolph's death and constantly mocked him and his family after the rapper was murdered. The second and most bizarre reason is that Yo Gotti had a hand in his brother's killing. As crazy as that sounds, internet detectives have uncovered suspicious links that connect Yo Gotti to Big Juke's murder. But to give any credibility to these claims, we must first understand how Big Juke met his death.
One person is dead, a second clinging to life after they were shot outside of an event center in East Memphis.
On January 13th, Big Juke posted a photo with an ominous caption which read, "They don't want to face you, they want to snake you. Stay alert. To stay alive, watch your back at all times. Put snakes on the plate and eat great." Little did he know that this would be his last day on earth. He was attending a funeral service on Winchester Road, 6300 block. As the funeral service progressed, Juke, dressed in a somber black suit, joined other family members to pay their respects to his late uncle Eric, a legendary kingpin in the area. Eric Boven, a well-known Memphis cocaine kingpin in the 1980s and the head of the Boven family, had a significant connection to Big Juke and Yo Gotti. He was a former partner of their aunt. Boven passed away on December 31st at the age of 63, and his funeral brought together family and friends to pay their respects. The repast at Perignon's Restaurant and Event Center was meant to provide an opportunity for loved ones to come together and find solace in each other's company. The atmosphere was heavy with grief and remembrance, but no one could have anticipated the horror that awaited them outside the Event Center and Perignon's Restaurant. The atmosphere was heavy with grief and remembrance, but no one could have anticipated the horror that awaited them outside. It was in the vicinity of the funeral service that Big Juke's life was tragically cut short. Gunshots rang out, shattering the peace and causing panic among the mourners. Big Juke was fatally wounded, his body succumbing to the violence that unfolded before their eyes. The chaos that ensued was captured on video, providing crucial evidence for the investigation that would follow. Memphis police, responding swiftly to the scene, were met with a grim sight. Big Juke lay motionless, his life extinguished in an instant. The news of Big Juke's death reverberated throughout the city, prompting an outpouring of condolences and tributes from fans, friends, and fellow artists. The loss of such a vibrant and influential individual sent shockwaves through the music community, leaving many grappling with the senselessness of the tragedy. According to police reports, Big Juke was not the only one who was shot that afternoon. Turns out another man was also rushed to the same hospital after sustaining gunshot wounds. At 4:15 p.m., officers were flagged down on a shooting at 6385 Winchester. A male was located on the scene and transported to St. Francis, where he was pronounced deceased. A second male arrived at St. Francis by private vehicle. He is listed as critical, the police report read. The Memphis Police Department launched an immediate investigation into the shooting, aiming to uncover the truth behind this senseless act of violence. During a press conference, Deputy Chief Paul Wright provided some insights into the ongoing investigation. He mentioned that the police were analyzing video footage from the scene, but had not yet identified a suspect. It remained unclear whether there were multiple multiple shooters involved in the incident. Deputy Chief Wright also stated that the police believe that Big Jook may have been targeted by the suspect. The motive behind the shooting and the identity of the perpetrator were still under investigation. The Memphis Police Department appealed to the public for any information that could assist in solving the case. Luckily, the next day, witnesses came forward and provided invaluable information to the cops. On Sunday, a witness at the scene came forward and reported that suspects in a white SUV were responsible for the shooting. The vehicle in question was described as a white Ford Explorer with black wheels and dark tinted windows. Surveillance video captured images of the vehicle, providing valuable evidence for the investigation.
Tonight, police are looking for a white Ford Explorer SUV in connection with the shooting.
But that was not all. Witnesses at the funeral reported that they saw two suspicious men inside the church during the funeral. Apparently, Big Jook was being watched by the men who were seated at the back of the church before heading out earlier than the rest of the mourners. What's more shocking is that the vehicle that Big Jook was murdered in also had his mom, who was seated in the back seat. Whoever wanted Big Jook dead wanted him gone and didn't care if innocent people would get hurt. So the question that lingers is who would want Yo Gotti's brother dead? Well, Young Dolph's camp was hit pretty hard by his demise. This was well encapsulated by his cousin and fellow rapper, Key Glock.
Man, ain't nothing. Nobody can tell me it ain't nothing I can do that'll make me feel better. I'm just be 100. Yeah.
Key Glock's hurt was easily visible through his social media posts. Following Young Dolph's death, Key Glock went ahead to delete all his social accounts on Instagram and Twitter. However, he made a comeback a few weeks later where he posted on his story telling people to stop trying to reach him. "Stop asking me if I'm okay, knowing damn well I ain't," the post read. Key Glock, born Markevius LaShawn Cathy, is Dolph's cousin by marriage. Dolph signed his protege to his Paper Route Empire label in 2017 and released the collaborative album Dumb and Dumber with him in 2019 and the follow-up Dumb and Dumber 2 in 2021. A few days later, he gathered the courage to pen down an emotional tribute to Young Dolph. "Damn, bro, I'm lost," he captioned the post. "My heart is torn. My brain is about to explode. It hurts when I breathe. Why you leave me so soon? I'll never be the same. You was my left-hand man, my brother, my cousin, my mentor, and drank partner." However, one part of his emotional tribute stood out and had people thinking that sooner or later, someone was bound to pay for the hurt that he was feeling. "There's nothing no one can do or say to bring you back, and that just eats me up by the second. You was Phil Jackson and I was Yo MJ. Remember I told you I got you back no matter what? I guarantee that," the post read. Was the rapper promising to avenge Young Dolph's death? Well, Big Jook's actions after Dolph died and the continued disrespect from Young Dolph's ops even after his demise may have led to Young Dolph's camp finally sliding. As it turns out, Big Jook had openly dissed Young Dolph, especially after he died. In 2021, Big Jook took to his Instagram where he shared his discontent over a street painting that featured his brother's op. The painting featured NLE Choppa, Moneybag Yo, and Young Dolph, and Big Jook did not hold back.
I don't paint no beside two real niggas. Two real niggas with a in the middle, man. Y'all don't do that, man. Don't talk about legacy. So right here.
Big Jook had some pretty strong feelings towards the late Young Dolph, but hate towards the dead rapper continued after a mural dedicated to him was vandalized.
Frustrations are boiling over across Memphis after a mural dedicated to rapper Young Dolph is vandalized.
But that's not all. Word on the street was that Big Jook had put out a bounty on Young Dolph's death, and from sources, it was worth $40,000.
Because these folks had something to do with it, bro. These folks don't know that Jook put a hit out, bro.
Putting out hits on ops is nothing new in hip-hop, with one of the more recent stories involving such evil practices involving the late King Von and FBG Duck. As it turns out, an informant had revealed to the feds that someone had put a $50,000 bounty on Duck's head. However, no one was willing to do it. The informant further revealed that the same individual had bumped up his offer to $100,000. Someone was willing to part ways with $100,000 in exchange for someone's death? Who wanted Duck dead so bad? Although the informant did not reveal the individual's name, they told the cops that the said person had rewarded the killers with custom-made O-block chains. Things were starting to fall into place. A video had earlier surfaced on YouTube of none other than King Von giving O-block members custom-made chains. Apart from this, among all the O-block members, he was the one who had that kind of money, since he had made it big in his music career. So how did internet detectives connect Big Jooks to Young Dolph's bounty? Well, this was revealed in the arrests that were made in connection to Young Dolph's death. Deadly feud. Just 9 days after the tragic shooting, on December 9th, police arrested the first person they believed to be involved in Young Dolph's death. Cornelius Smith was arrested after a traffic stop in South Haven, Mississippi.
Only on Fox 13, video of the arrest of one of the men accused in Young Dolph's murder. Last night we told you Cornelius Smith was arrested in South Haven a month ago. Police picked him up on a warrant for an alleged carjacking involving that white Mercedes that was used in Dolph's murder.
Smith was picked up on an auto theft warrant involving the stolen white Mercedes-Benz, though his arrest and alleged connection to young Dolph's murder would not be publicized by South Haven police until later, as authorities across the country worked to find other suspects. And on January 5th, 2022, 7 weeks to the day of young Dolph's murder, Memphis police announced a warrant on a first-degree murder charge for Justin Johnson.
A major break in the murder of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. U.S. Marshals announcing the man you see on your screen here, 23-year-old Justin Johnson, is wanted for first-degree murder and violating parole. There is a $15,000 reward being offered for his capture.
Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop, is a rapper from Memphis who is now the main suspect in the murder of Dolph. A third suspect was also arrested in connection with Dolph's murder. Shundale Barnett was apprehended in Indiana and had reportedly been helping fellow suspect and would-be rapper Justin Johnson evade the police. Barnett was charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder and criminal attempt to commit first-degree murder. A fourth suspect, 43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who is alleged to have ordered the murder of young Dolph, was also arrested. The arrest of Hernandez Govan and the uncovering of his role in ordering young Dolph's death changed everything.
Govan asked for young Dolph to be murdered.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved in the young Dolph murder. He played the role of the person who solicited the murder.
The arrest of Govan changed everything. The rumors suggested that Big Juke had been spotted with Hernandez Govan, as a photo of the pair together started making rounds on the internet. It was even rumored that Govan was Big Juke's right-hand man. Well, according to internet sleuths, Big Juke had approached Govan and paid him to organize young Dolph's murder. But the rabbit hole goes deeper than that. On the surface, it would seem that Big Juke was killed because he was heavily involved in young Dolph's murder. However, some sections of the internet believe that Yo Gotti was involved in his brother's death. To understand this, we must take a look at the beef between Yo Gotti and young Dolph. Before he met his death, young Dolph and Yo Gotti had been neck-deep in a rivalry that had seen bullets exchanged. What is even more interesting is that young Dolph seemed to be cool with Yo Gotti's brother, Big Juke, before the feud started. And during their beef, young Dolph revealed some shocking details that make Big Juke's murder in 2024 look really bad for Yo Gotti. So, who did the beef start, and what exactly did Dolph reveal about Big Juke? The Memphis rap scene was dominated by Yo Gotti, who achieved national prominence with hit singles such as I Know and Down in the DM. Not only had Yo Gotti's popularity increased, but he had also established his own empire thanks to his CMG imprint, which now houses talented artists such as 42 Dugg and Black Youngstar from Memphis. During Yo Gotti's reign, however, young Dolph emerged as a formidable competitor. Young Dolph founded Paper Route Empire in 2008, and he quickly began to make a name for himself in the industry. Collaborations with rap game giants such as Gucci Mane further solidified his ascending status. In 2015, young Dolph's popularity and fan base skyrocketed, placing him in direct competition with Yo Gotti, which resulted in a bitter rivalry. Young Dolph and Yo Gotti's feud achieved its pinnacle in 2016, with both artists engaging in a public feud, firing shots at each other through their music and social media. Young Dolph, known for his forthrightness, voiced his displeasure with Yo Gotti, specifically referencing the time he turned down Yo Gotti's offer to sign a record contract with CMG. From young Dolph's perspective, Gotti took offense at Dolph's decision, establishing the groundwork for their ongoing animosity. Young Dolph's announcement that his debut album would be titled King of Memphis was an important point in the developing rivalry. Many were taken aback by this action, as Yo Gotti had long claimed the title for himself. Despite Gotti's silence on the subject, the Memphis rap community regarded Dolph's album title as a direct challenge to Gotti's claim to the throne. Despite the tension, young Dolph attempted to tone down the conflict during a February 2016 radio show appearance. He appreciated Yo Gotti's early support in his career and explained that the title of his album was not intended as an insult, but rather reflected the mindset of himself and his crew, who considered themselves kings in their own right. However, tensions rose even more when Yo Gotti's CMG artist, Black Youngstar, publicly criticized young Dolph in an Instagram video. Black Youngstar questioned Dolph's claim to be the king of Memphis and resorted to threats, demonstrating that the hatred between the two groups was serious. The conflict between young Dolph and Yo Gotti reached new heights on March 2nd, 2016, when Black Youngstar showed up in young Dolph's Memphis area. Black Youngstar was accompanied by a number of his goons as they roamed through South Memphis's Castalia neighborhood, reportedly looking for young Dolph.
Right now, cuz. We in Castalia right now, cuz. What Dolph at, cuz? Where he at, blood? Where he at? Where he at right now?
While the two sides did not cross paths during this encounter, it was clear that their hostility went much deeper than a battle of words on social media and in their diss tracks. While Young Dolph had mainly taken the high road throughout the conflict by March 16, 2016, his patience had run out. Dolph openly responded against Yo Gotti in a series of Instagram posts, accusing him of harboring anger for Memphis rap icons like 3 6 Mafia and 8 Ball and MJG. He further alleged that Gotti sent Black Youngsta to fight his battles and that he had even called the cops on him. Dolph stated unequivocally that he had no intention of ever signing with Gotti, and he also reminded him of his feud with Gucci Mane, hinting that Gotti's animosity towards him stemmed from his continuous relationship with Gucci. Black Youngsta wasted no time in responding to Dolph's harsh statements, releasing a diss track titled Shake Some, which he famously performed barely a month after Dolph's death. Youngsta criticized Young Dolph's Memphis ties and attacked his claim to be the city's king in the song. He also declared his devotion to Gotti and called Dolph's legitimacy and credentials as a Memphis musician into doubt. Black Youngsta declared the feud over months after clashing with Young Dolph in an interview with Vlad TV. Youngsta put an end to the rivalry by revealing that despite their feud, Yo Gotti actually liked Young Dolph, but Dolph refused to accept that it was resolved, leaving room for additional strife. Later, Young Dolph released the diss track, Play With Your directed at Yo Gotti, which went viral. The song was brutal as it made damning revelations of Dolph dating Gotti's baby mama, and this is where Dolph also revealed some shocking details about Yo Gotti and Big Jook. In a skit in the song, a Big Jook lookalike appears and thanks Young Dolph for his support. The Big Jook lookalike then says that his brother has been messing up his life. Later in the song, Dolph reveals that there was a time that Big Jook and Yo Gotti were not seeing eye to eye. During that period, Young Dolph took care of Big Jook. I'm the same lil bro that was helping your big ass brother put food on his table when you wasn't with him, bro, he rapped. Nevertheless, when the beef started, it seems Big Jook went back to being cool with his brother and forgot all about Young Dolph's kind-heartedness. Well, Young Dolph had some words for him too. Tell your ass big brother, man, I said he a too. Matter of fact, your big sister, tell your big sister that I said he a too. Know what I mean? You's a the whole city know that, streets know that, stay out my way. Yo Gotti's long silence on the developing animosity with Young Dolph came to a conclusion after he issued his diss tune, Don't Beef With Me, where he cleverly avoided direct confrontation with his op. Young Dolph, never one to back down, responded with the release of his Play With Yo music video. The video mocked Yo Gotti mercilessly. Dolph went all in, using a Gotti impersonator in the video, indicating that the animosity had reached new heights. Exactly one day after the video dropped, Yo Gotti seemed to retaliate, but this time with bullets. On February 25th, 2017, news spread that Young Dolph had been targeted in a gunshot in Charlotte, North Carolina, escalating the rivalry. Over 100 shots were fired at his vehicle, but owing to his armored SUV, Dolph escaped unharmed. He went on the stage later that night, unfazed by the event, and performed his Yo Gotti diss hit Play With Yo. The message was clear. He was not going to back down. However, Young Dolph appeared to have changed his mind. During an interview, he called his battle with Yo Gotti old news, turning his focus to the future rather than the past. A tragedy occurred just as the animosity appeared to be cooling. On September 26, 2017, Young Dolph was again the victim of a shooting, this time in Hollywood. Details on the incident were scant as she was rushed to the hospital. Yo Gotti was named a person of interest by the LAPD after an altercation between their entourages escalated into gunfire. However, the Los Angeles Police Department reaffirmed a day later that Yo Gotti was not a person of interest in the shooting, denying the early reports. Corey McClendon, a Yo Gotti associate, was instead charged with attempted murder in connection with the incident. As the investigation progressed, Corey McClendon was unexpectedly freed without prosecution on September 28, 2017. Despite the absence of arrests, the animosity between the two artists was evident, keeping fans and the wider public on edge, wondering if the rivalry would ever be completely settled. The beef died down after that. However, 4 years later, tragedy struck as Young Dolph was gunned down in his hometown. What is even more interesting is that another suspect who was arrested in Young Dolph's murder agreed to cooperate with the feds. In June 2023, Jamarcus Johnson reached a plea deal where he pleaded guilty to 3 counts of accessory after the fact in exchange for his conspiracy to murder charge being dropped. He is expected to testify against the other suspects at their upcoming trials.
And more big news at 4. One of the men involved in the death of Young Dolph pleads guilty to accessory after the fact.
Prosecutors say Jamarcus handed over the cell phone and identified a picture of his brother wearing the same clothes as one of the shooters. He also agreed to testify against his brother if called.
killed.
His testimony may shine light on who ordered Dolph's death and whether it was related to the feud between Dolph and Yo Gotti. According to internet detectives, Yo Gotti wasn't sure his brother would stay quiet in case the feds caught up with him. As Dolph demonstrated, Gotti and Big Jukes were sometimes never on good terms, meaning that there may be significant cracks in their relationship. Could Big Juk have snitched on his brother for planning and paying for Dolph to get killed? Well, if Gotti had anything to do with Dolph's death, then his days may be numbered. If you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.